Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. And the Brian Craig Show podcast is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing and Contracting. If you need roof repair or replacement in the state of Florida, Tom Laporta can help. Online at laportaroofing.com. Okay. Boy, you know, what happened today was amazing. J6 Part 2. And President Trump was just certified by Kamala Harris as the 47th president of the United States. And I know you guys have heard me say this 1,000,001 times, but I'm going to say it again. It's the Trump miracle. Okay? I mean, he is a superhero. He literally dodged a speeding bullet.
Yeah.
He has been through, you know, you look from J6 to J6. What they have put President Trump through in the last 4 years, you know what it is. I'm not going to go through a list. You know. What they've put him through in the last 4 years is unimaginable.
I know.
Anyone else would have dropped out, gone into a deep depression, something. And he, you know, I remember once during the Mueller investigation when all that garbage was going on, Eric Trump, I saw in an interview, he says, my dad is at his best when you think he's down, right? When he's like, got to overcome something, some obstacle or something, that's when he's at his best. And for him to be back as the 47th president of the United States is amazing. Certified by Kamala today. Friday, he picked the speaker. Speaker couldn't get through on his own. He made 2 calls, got it done on the first vote. 2 weeks from today, he's going to be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States. And his entire agenda, he has a mandate to accomplish. And Mike, in the Senate said, Hegseth, they got the votes. They got the votes for everybody. Bobby Kennedy, Pam Bondi, they're all, Kash Patel, they're all going to get approved. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, they're putting together some massive bill that has everything Trump wants in all in one bill. They're going to pass that and sign it. And
if you don't,
it's amazing.
This is all because of God. This could not happen. I know, you know, Trump is amazing, and don't get me wrong. And if you are familiar with the Bible, God chooses people for different things. Mm-hmm. They're not perfect people. Nobody's perfect, but they're exceptional, and they accomplish what needs to be. Like Paul was chosen. He was, you know, jailing Christians and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden he got converted and basically started the whole church, you know, him and Peter and those guys, but all the letters. Yeah. People are chosen by God for certain things in life. And there's too many things. If you're not a believing person, this should definitely make you pause, because there is no way on this earth that this could be happening today without divine intervention.
No way.
Dodging a bullet, being almost killed again, another bounty on his head, not to mention 2 impeachments, being arrested. I mean, when you go through the list.
They broke into his house.
And then today you see all these people there that said he was Hitler, he was a threat to democracy, and they're all sitting there watching him be certified.
Yeah.
The liberals must be, the voters that are hardcore liberals, I am just really wondering what's going through their mind. I mean, do they have enough self-awareness to realize that they have been lied to about this man?
No.
Or do they double down? Some of them do. Like Stephen Smith, that guy from ESPN. He's becoming MAGA.
Well, you know, I was watching.
But some of them just double down, and they, like Sonny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg, they refuse to look in the mirror and admit it's just pure smugness.
It depends on who you're talking about. Like Sonny Hostin and The View, which have been totally irrelevant now since the election. What happened? They're different than others. Okay, they're surrounded by friends that are whispering in their ears, egging them on to do this every day. But how are they
processing this today?
Well, I'll tell you how most are. There's an interview that Bill Maher did with John Cryer. Okay, now I'm no big John Cryer fan. I never watched that 2.5 Men show. I haven't watched 5 seconds of it. And I remember he was like in some movies when we were growing
I know
up.
from Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, Pretty in Pink.
it.
That's what I like. Pretty in Pink. Pretty in Pink's good. It holds up. He's a very good actor.
You know, that role was written for Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah, and I've never seen John Cryer speak before from his own mind. Okay, I've only seen him act in Pretty in Pink, which is what's Blinky? What's his name? Ducky, right? Ducky.
Yeah.
Ducky, Blinky, whatever.
Yeah.
Ducky.
Duck Man.
And that's so I've never really seen him speak. So I used to think he was Matthew Broderick, when he was in the movies and somebody showed. But I saw him speak for the first time, and he's sitting down with Bill Maher.
Yeah.
And Bill Maher's telling him, this is all over X today. Bill Maher's telling John Cryer, it's all this extreme wokeness. That's why Kamala lost everything else. And John Cryer says, no, I think it's inflation. And he really thinks that. So, and I'm watching CNN and MSNBC a little bit over the last couple of days because of certification, and they're numb.
Well, it's not all John Cryer said. He said it's inflation, and it's also that MAGA hate black women and hate transgenders and hate this and they hate. So, no, it's not that we hate. It's that we're not going to sit by like the people in England or Canada and sit by and watch our country completely destroyed.
Well, this is what they don't get, okay?
This is America. We don't play that.
Kamala didn't lose because of any of these reasons. Trump has always been this popular, okay, since day one, okay? We all know that.
Yes.
Okay? But this woke thing is the views of woke are held by a handful of people. John Cryer's talking all woke because he's still in that. He wants to work and acting still. So and that's the circle he's in.
He's just in that bubble.
People, most people in the country do not think that 8-year-olds should have sex change operations, that men should be beating up women in boxing matches in the Olympics. And the woke is so absurd, that I told you guys when that thing with the swimmer started happening, I said, this is going to fade away. People getting all upset. It's going to fade away because it's so absurd. It took a while, but that's what's it's about. Trump's always been this popular. Woke is this woke stuff is really it's really like a parody. It's so stupid.
It's so many things that have gone wrong.
Nothing's gone right.
It's not just the woke. It's the hyperbolic messaging from the left. The Trump is Hitler. The sky is falling. It's the endless money to the Ukraine. It's the gaslighting. It's so many things. It couldn't just be one thing. It is dozens and dozens of things that we have had to endure for the last 8 years. And we have stuck by Trump, and now there's new people on the Trump train. And I am convinced that him getting shot at changed all these guys.
He got shot.
Him getting shot in Butler was what changed a lot of these billionaires, Bezos, Zuckerberg, the guy from Facebook, whatever his name is. For some reason, that flipped those guys. Elon, they earned their respect. They're like, this guy is not that bad that he deserves this. This is crazy. The Democrats are out of control.
Well, wait. Listen, here's the thing. A
lot of things contributed to this.
We've all grown up with the idea of the Kennedy assassination conspiracies.
Yes.
And I know a lot of you have been very involved in that your whole life. I never fully believed it because it just seemed too fantastical to me. Like the Oliver Stone movie and all that stuff. And now we see with Trump, it's all true. All those Kennedy conspiracies are true. And the same people that shot Kennedy shot Trump in Butler. And when Trump...
It's just massive corruption.
When Trump got shot in Butler, every single person in the United States knows that the Never Trumpers did it. He was shot by us. Okay? What I mean is by our own... The Never Trumpers in this country that have been doing all these things to Trump, they shot Trump. And then they tried to do it again.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that Secret Service man just coincidentally missed the shooter 5 times or however many times when he was so close to him. No. I don't believe that. Those guys train and they have to qualify and they're marksmen.
Everybody knows what happened.
It was the same people that shot Kennedy, shot Trump, and tried to do it again. And that's just it. And that woke up a lot of people. And a lot of these people like Bezos.
And it scared a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people like Bezos and Zuckerberg. And there's this billionaires club.
Yes.
That's what flipped Elon Musk. Elon Musk was a Democrat until Butler. It really woke people up, and people that
I think so
were either on the fence or believed all this garbage, like John Cryer with Bill Maher. They said to themselves, "It's all true. Everything that Trump's been saying." It's like fun.
Right.
Like if you
That's
remember,
exactly right.
This first started in the first campaign when Trump came outside of Trump Tower and said, "Obama's spying on me," and they all laughed, and that's when it began. And if we get to the bottom,
he's been vindicated. Not that we felt he needed to be vindicated.
Yeah.
But in the eyes of the world, in the eyes of
that's right,
people that were not so sure, or even people that were so against him, he has been vindicated because the truth always comes out. That's the way it happens. And Trump is he has the patience of Job. He is a very patient man. And, I think he really has studied a lot of historical stuff from presidents. And I think he's done a lot of studying,
a lot of reading,
of reading of the presidents, because he's doing a lot of things that haven't been done in a long time. He's doing things that have been done before this country got corrupt, like really corrupted after World War II. And he's going back to those times when using laws that were set in place in the Constitution that haven't been used in a long time.
That's right.
For example, the Alien Act and all these things that he's using from like the 1890s or something. And he's going back and studying these things and really studying the history of the presidents and what they did. This talk about Greenland and the Panama Canal and Canada and all these things. I mean, this is a new Trump. I'm not saying that, I don't want to say wiser, because I think he's always been wise, but everything he's been through, I really feel since he was shot that it was like an epiphany with him. Like he feels he really is on a mission from God, and he feels all the stars are aligning and this is truly meant to be. You know what I mean? And I think that he is just, nothing's going to stop him.
There's another thing too that I've noticed. It's been happening since he won re-election, but in the last few days, there's been an avalanche of global support around Trump and caving to his great.
Absolutely.
Trudeau resigning, Zelensky praising Trump, and all
they're falling in line. They're afraid they have to. Some of them, and some of them agree with him.
The president of Mexico, she said over the weekend that they'll take in all the migrants, all the illegals, even the ones that aren't Mexican, whose home countries won't take them in. Mexico will absorb them. It's the amount of respect. Now, today with the certification, the Democrats are so stupid. They're pod people. They're very snooty. And there wasn't a single objection to the certification today. And with the Democrats,
it was so much fun to watch.
With the Democrats, because I was watching Kamala, and Kamala, if you really go back and you watch, in particular at the end, I'm going to play one clip of her, but if you watch her at the end when it was all done, she was very snooty, like very arrogant. And the Democrats, they had this attitude: we didn't object, we support democracy.
Well, that's their spin.
We're not objecting to the democracy like you guys did. It's like when you go out and you see liberals out at like Target wearing masks. The reason they wear masks is not for any health reasons. It's so if you don't, you deny science. They're a better person because they believe science. We don't. Liberals are just pod people, arrogant pod people.
And I really believe that they are becoming obsolete.
Yes,
the whole party is their ideology, their thinking, and especially with this younger generation, Gen Z, they are embracing our country and love this country and are tired of just being constantly told how horrible things are, how bad it is. All of that is just it's a lie. Nothing is perfect, but this is the best country to live in for opportunities. I can tell you that.
By far.
There's nowhere else in the world you can go and have opportunities like here. I was watching this woman on TikTok. They moved to Italy, which is weird because Italy's MAGA, to leave because of Trump. And 6 weeks in, has buyer's remorse. Now, I lived in Italy, but during college, okay? She moved there permanently, and she was saying how hard it is to get a car. She said, you can't just buy a car. You have to get a special permit because there's true. You when I lived in Florence, the lady that we stayed with owned a hotel, and she told us, you cannot just buy a car. You have to get a special permit to drive in the city. That's how it is over there.
No freedom.
And she said she had to go to the doctor. She's like, I had to walk to the doctor because I don't have a car. There's no buses. It's different over there. People don't understand how easy life is in this country for people. Everything is accessible. Everything is available to you. Everything that you want and need, you can have if you work hard and put your nose to the grindstone and stop bitching and complaining constantly. But they think the grass is greener, and they really believe that Trump is just so bad and so awful. If he's so bad and so awful, then why was Nancy Pelosi and Kamala and the entire Democratic Party there at his certification?
Yeah.
Answer me this.
And think about 4 years ago at this very moment, okay? Now, again, because podcasts, I
tell you what a difference.
You could be listening at different times.
It's amazing.
But 4 years ago today,
incredible.
I want you to think about where President Trump was, okay? He was at the White House. All this stuff happened. And look what happened, right? Social media cut him off. The TV cut him off. They cut off the lines of his communication. The sitting president of the United States, Zuckerberg and all these people and the networks and all of them cut his lines of communication off out of the White House, right? Can you believe?
Did you ever think?
Here we are.
Yeah.
We are 4 years later to the moment he's back. And I'll tell you, one of the things I'm really looking forward to, this might sound petty, but on Inauguration Day, when the POTUS Twitter is given back to Trump.
Yeah.
Because remember, they even took that away from him. He was trying to communicate to go home and calm things down. They took away his Twitter. They took away his POTUS Twitter.
And I tell
he's
you
going
what,
to retake the POTUS Twitter. I know it's X now.
A lot of people on X, they're releasing a lot of footage that I've never seen from January 6th. Because Sonny Hostin compared January 6th to slavery and the Holocaust.
Disgusting.
She's such a moron.
She's so stupid.
And so a lot of people are releasing footage, and there's a lot of footage I haven't seen. And I promise you, Trump is going to release all that footage.
Can't wait.
And he is going to prove to you that this was a tour, that the police let them in. I saw a video of a hallway, and all the cops were standing in a row against the wall, and people were just walking by them, and the cops did the Capitol Police did nothing.
I've seen that video. It's amazing.
And then there's a new video from a body camera of one of the Capitol Police, and they're talking in a huddle with the other cops, and I think I retweeted it. And the one guy in charge is telling the other cops how to identify the undercover police, that they have a wristband. He said they have a special wristband.
I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, it's new. It just came out. And he said they have a special wristband. Let me try to find it. And he said they have a candy cane sticker on their gun. Because the guy asked him, how do we identify them in the crowd? And he said, this is what they have. This is how you tell them apart.
Wow.
So that's new. All this stuff is going to come out. And the purpose of this, and Trump and God's intervention and all of this, is to save this country, because millions of people are praying for Trump, for America, one nation under God, praying, praying, praying. Keep praying. Don't stop praying. And God is answering everybody's prayers. Yeah. I'm telling you. Now, I want to all this stuff's going to come out.
I want to play this. For Kamala, who didn't know the pledge on Friday, because she grew up in Canada, she never said it. But she put out this arrogant video about the peaceful transfer of power before the event, before the certification today. So I just want to play this. And she put this out on what soon will be JD's Twitter, the official VP Twitter.
The peaceful transfer of power is one of the most fundamental principles of American democracy. As much as any other principle, it is what distinguishes our system of government from monarchy or tyranny. Today at the United States Capitol, I will perform my constitutional duty as Vice President of the United States to certify the results of the 2024 election. This duty is a sacred obligation, one I will uphold, guided by love of country, loyalty to our Constitution, and my unwavering faith in the American people. As we have seen, our democracy can be fragile, and it is up to then each one of us to stand up for our most cherished principles and to make sure that in America, our government always remains of the people, by the people, and for the people. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Okay, so that's Kamala before the arrogance. The arrogance.
I'm so glad she's not being certified today.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
It would suck.
How depressing.
It would have really sucked.
It would be, how horrible it would be for the country, for the world, if she was being certified and you had to listen to that for the next 4 years. I cannot wait for Joe Biden to be out of office. I mean, he's a horrible person. He's corrupt. And this cannot happen soon enough. We got, what's today, the 7th?
Yeah.
So we've got, 13 days? It cannot happen soon enough for me. It is going to be a very, very happy day. You should talk about your appearance for people that live in the area.
Yeah, I'm going to. Steve and I, we did this when Trump was inaugurated the first time. And 4 years ago was the first inauguration in my lifetime that I've been coherent, maybe when I was a little baby, you know. But first inauguration of my lifetime I didn't watch was the last one. Okay. I mean, I remember where I was, though. I was at the vet with our cat. I had to put our cat down that day. Milky.
Oh,
remember Milky?
Yeah, she was sweet.
No, she was such a sweet cat.
I love that cat.
Yeah, we have her ashes in the living room now in a little urn. But Steve Kane and I are going to be at Wings Plus in Coral Springs, the Sample Road location, for our Bye Bye Biden, Hello President Trump victory celebration. So we're going to go and watch the inauguration live at Wings Plus, which if you're local, it's in Coral Springs, at the Sample Road location, which is about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road. You're all invited. They have TVs all over the place, for sports. Yeah. And they're all going to have the inauguration on, and we're going to have a great time, and you're all invited, so join us. That's Inauguration Day. The inauguration, we'll be watching it at noon, but I recommend you get there around 11 so you get a good table and get a good seat. I look forward to seeing you all there. Before we take a break, though, I want to tell you guys this, okay? We have begun a new year, and I know we were podcasting last week on New Year's, but a lot of you might have been off for the holidays. Because I didn't realize that all of New Year's week is like a holiday for a lot of people, but it is. Those of you that were not with us last week because you were taking it easy during New Year's, welcome. It is a new year. Happy New Year. With the certification of Trump, the golden age of America has begun.
I love it.
And this is most definitely a miracle, and it's exciting. We're going to take our first break. When we get back, there's a whole bunch more to talk about. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
The fake news tried to tear down Mike Lindell and MyPillow, but Mike Lindell stood strong, just like President Trump. This is Brian Craig. It's time to celebrate President Trump's historic victory with MyPillow's Price Buster deals. Save with our promo code Kane at checkout. I sleep on a MyPillow mattress every night, and you can choose from top-rated mattresses, including the revolutionary MyPillow foam mattress with 5 comfort layers for the best sleep ever, and the 2-sided encased coil quilted mattress. It's built for unbeatable comfort and delivered right to your door. The MyPillow mattresses come with a 10-year warranty, a 6-month money-back guarantee, and they're made right here in the United States. There's never been a better time to upgrade your sleep. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout for huge savings. Celebrate Trump's win and sleep like a patriot.
This is Dr. Philip Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. I've seen thousands and thousands of patients in my career. I've been a chiropractic physician here in Pompano Beach for 40 years. We're open 6 days a week. If you have sciatica, you have bursitis, you have tendonitis, you're tired of taking the pills, the drugs, the injections, and you heard that you have to live with it. Well, there's a lot of times you don't have to live with it. I've had great success with helping people. My testimonials are marvelous with patients. They love the treatment because no injections, there's no medication, there's no surgery. There's none of that. It's strictly either the laser or the acupuncture I do or shockwave therapy I do. Open 6 days a week. Come in for the free consultation and I'll be willing to look at you and help you.
Take advantage of that no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. The Hexagon Research Store is now live. Browse the unique selection and find something you like. Every purchase supports future innovations in research, software, and technology. Shop now at hexagonresearch.net. Thank you for your patronage. hexagonresearch.net.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I do want to play some of this Bill Maher, John Cryer thing. But, Hollywood... I and you guys can let us know in the comments what you all think, but I think woke is over. That doesn't mean liberalism's over. I wish that was too, but woke is all this stupid stuff.
It's going to be up to the next generation. They are the ones. We're not. Gen X is not into woke, and neither is the boomers or the silent generation. It's the millennials and some of Gen Z.
Yeah,
but it's mainly the millennials that have brought this crap in, and Obama and his minions. The Gen Z generation and the generation after that, they're the ones that are going to have to ride this wave along with the older generations and put a stop to this transgender nonsense, this mixing of women and men in sports, and all this stuff that's going on. And this is the beginning of it. And if they embrace it, which I think they have and they will, and go with it, they're the ones that can put an end to this. Otherwise, it's just going to come back. It's just going to come back.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's no doubt about it. And, Bill Maher, he does two shows. He does the one that's on HBO, but then he does this thing that's on YouTube where he invites people. I think it looks like his house. I don't know. At least he acts like it is. And he smokes weed while he's interviewing people.
Yeah. Well, he smokes weed a lot, not just when he's interviewing people. He says he smokes it all the time. And
I don't think he's high on the HBO show because when I watch him on this other show where he's smoking and drinking, he's totally different.
What is I don't smoke pot. I tried it a couple times in high school. I never liked it. But he says he's been smoking it for 50 years. So he's like, from the 60s, 50s, 70s, he's like a hippie. Do you build up I've seen his joints. They're huge.
Yeah, Cheech and Chong stuff.
Do you have to do you build up such a tolerance that you have to keep? I mean, how much does he have to smoke to get stoned? I'm wondering, his body must be so used to it by now.
He must not really.
His dubs are huge.
He must not really work that much. That real-time show must be like a couple hours a week because how could he be high all the time and function? People in show business don't work that much.
Well, he does one show a week. It's an hour, and that's it. So that's probably the one day he doesn't light up.
Yeah,
it's Fridays.
And as soon as it's over, he probably does.
The rest of the time, this guy has no problem.
This thing with John Cryer, the reason I'm sharing this, it's not about John. Who cares about John Cryer, right? I mean,
nobody.
He's a B actor at best, if even that.
Yeah.
And I really mean it. I know that 2.5 Men was a big hit, and I understand he's incredibly wealthy from that, from what I understand. But but the reason I'm sharing this is not because of John Cryer. Who cares about John Cryer? I think he's representative of the left's mindset about this election, and they're in denial about everything, which is what we want. We don't want these Democrats to understand why they lost, because if they understand why they lost, they can correct it, at least publicly, and pretend to be something they're not and have a chance to win some more down the road. The longer it takes them to figure it out, the better it will be for us. So this is Bill Maher with Cryer.
You don't want to talk about that politics at all.
Well,
I shouldn't, because I really started this podcast to get away from it. So you're right. I kind of fucked up.
Yes.
But I don't know. Sometimes people say things that trigger me. And of course, we just had the election, and I feel like my conscience is very clear. I warned everybody about Trump, and then I warned them about what would get him reelected. Which,
and this whole thing with Bill Maher, that he's always warning people about Trump. I think Bill Maher has been one of the biggest promoters of Trump.
Absolutely.
And
he's helped Trump.
And I think he knows it. He's not stupid. He may be high all the time. I think he's kind of like a closeted MAGA guy to a certain extent.
He is very intelligent, despite the fact that he smokes all the time, which is shocking to me.
Isn't it nuts?
But I agree with you. I think he's a closet MAGA guy. I think he's really conservative at heart, but he just can't bring himself to support Trump for personal or whatever reasons.
His career would be over out there.
Yeah, and but he is constantly attacking
and
liberals.
He's an atheist. He made that movie and everything else, so that's, you know what I mean? Anyway, back to this.
Was stupid wokeness, which is what got him reelected. So I feel my conscience is very clear that I told you and I told you and I told you, and I lost fans for it.
No, he helped.
Lots of the super woke that's like, I'm not woke enough for them. Yeah, but like, I think I had it right. Like, that kind of stuff is what lost the election for the Democrats. It's in all.
Maybe part of it. I don't know. I think a lot.
They have polling on it.
I think it's inflation. I think Americans hate inflation.
That's certainly what
they hate inflation. They hate riots, and they hate black women. They hate trans people.
Oh God, John, we're not gonna.
They just spent hundreds of millions of dollars
don't hate
demonizing trans people, and that's disgusting.
Yeah,
that
we shouldn't talk politics.
Okay, we shouldn't. We shouldn't. Great. We don't have to.
And this, I have this kind of relationship with people on the right also who like. Yeah, it's just going to take so long to even have this discussion. Mm-hmm. And I want, just like I would like to deprogram them, I feel like there's things that don't get in your bubble on the left
exactly
that I would love to deprogram, but it's probably not the place to do it.
Yeah.
But,
wow.
You can try. if that's how you want to spend your leisure hours.
No, I mean...
Okay.
Oh my God!
Now with John Cryer, this is what's happening here.
I don't think those two will be hanging out together anytime soon.
Between woke and Harvey Weinstein, black women run Hollywood now.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
All these actors are afraid to say they feel like they have to say MAGA hates black women because the producers and the directors and all that people that do the casting.
He's trying to get a job.
That's right.
He's trying to get a job.
And
you're right. That's exactly what it's about.
I was watching, you guys know I'm a big Star Trek. I was watching an interview with Jonathan Frakes, who played Riker on Star Trek The Next Generation, and he directs a lot of the new Star Treks. And he was directing an episode of one of the new Star Trek shows, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It's the one about Captain Pike. Mm-hmm. And they had an actress who is black, and she was she was making up her own lines. And when you're filming, you have to you can't improvise on these shows because of continuity and everything. And he was directing and she was improvising. And he told this story like it was a funny story, but it was really humiliating. He didn't say anything to her. After the scene was shot, they did a few takes. She made up her own lines. Nothing was in the script. Mm-hmm. He called the producers and talked and they said, no, let her do it. And then he had this whole story. Well, she used to work at improv. She's very creative. He was afraid to correct a black actor. Can you imagine a director is afraid to tell an actor because they're a black woman that you have to stick to the script. You're not the writer. You're the actor. He was terrified. And that's what John Cryer is talking about. MAGA do not hate transgender people. They certainly do not hate black people.
You're right. He is pandering to Hollywood
to hire him
to get a job. He's got money, but he's not working.
That's right.
And actors, they don't. They're one of their biggest fears is being forgotten.
And he's like, hire me. I'm woke.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Hire me. I'm woke.
And Bill Maher. Maybe because he was stoned, didn't pick up on that. Because you're right, when you're not as sharp, And he is not as sharp in these interviews as he is on Politically Incorrect. He's extremely sharp on that show. I don't know how he just back and forth, but if he was sharp, he would have picked up on that. He would have said, you're pandering to the Hollywood elite.
Bill Maher is the only liberal that has a hope or a prayer of debating toe-to-toe a MAGA conservative. He's really good. And yeah, that's exactly, if he wasn't high, he would have been all over this and then some with John Cryer, and that's exactly what's going on.
He's really, I know a lot of you might disagree with me, but I've always liked Bill Maher. He's extremely intelligent.
We were in the studio audience of his ABC show, Politically Incorrect.
He's very quick, and
back in the 90s.
He's one of the few guys that's politically out there that you can talk to, that he'll talk to somebody that doesn't agree with him on everything, and he doesn't lose his mind like Sonny Hostin or Whoopi Goldberg. He doesn't start screaming at you. He's really into just having a civil debate about things, and he is not afraid to call people out. And I really feel, like you said, he helped Trump more than anything.
And he knows it.
Because he called out the left so much. You know what I mean?
You know what turned Bill Maher was the trans. Remember that story he told where he's at these dinner parties in Hollywood and everybody's got a trans kid?
Yeah,
he says
said it's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know, the trans, MAGA people are not against transgender. They just don't think, we don't think children should be having sex change operations, right? I mean, that's it's too permanent of a decision. This weekend I'm going to California to visit our daughter, and haven't been out there in a while. I mean, I'm very excited. I want to ask her if there's any grocery stores or drugstores in her neighborhood. She lives in a nice neighborhood, but it's still LA, where they have everything locked up. Because I see these videos on X of people like at drugstores and grocery stores and everything, like even milk is behind like locks.
I think they're finally starting to arrest shoplifters.
Yeah, they changed that law.
They passed some new ordinance in November, and I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok and social media on X of people that are getting actually arrested now for They're finally cracking down on this. I mean, it's just absurd.
Isn't it? It's just so stupid.
I don't understand the liberal mindset and why they always side with criminals and degenerates. I guess because that's what they are. And they affiliate with those people. You know what I mean? That's criminals are drawn to criminals.
When they first
they're all corrupt.
When they first had that law in California that you could shoplift and not be arrested or anything,
so stupid.
It was up to a certain dollar amount. I can't remember.
$1,200.
Was it $1,200? And
you get a lot for $1,200 at Target.
Yeah, and I remember I saw this one guy. He was shoplifting, but he stopped and he sat down with all of his stolen goods on the floor of the store and was adding up the cost of everything he was stealing to make sure it was under the $1,200. And then when he did, he left with everything.
Okay, so we have good news. I'm just seeing from Breaking 911. Representative Byron Donald says the No Tax on Tips Act has been drafted.
Yeah.
So that is going to...
That's amazing.
And Mike Johnson and Senator Thune, whatever his name is, Thune.
Yeah.
They have said that they are going to push through Trump's agenda, that they are both going to push it through. I think they were held back by the old guard, and now they're no longer worried about that. Mike Johnson's face today was priceless. He was one happy dude watching Trump get certified. He was a happy guy, but the no tax on tips, I forgot about that. Byron Donald said he's drafted it. I wonder how many other things have been drafted that are just going to be ready to go on day Trump is ready to go.
What they're doing is they're putting together like a huge bill or two that has everything in it.
Okay.
And that sounds like a great idea if they pass it all, unless they start dilly-dallying on this and that and take things out. But
they said they're going to do it.
The no tax on tips is amazing. And it liberals that have been against it, in the old days, tips were in cash.
And I just worry liberals won't tip now because of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They might not. But in the old days, tips were in cash. So they put them in their pocket. Now, I pay for cash. I pay with cash so infrequently.
Yes.
And I use Apple Pay mostly. And I think most people do, at least a debit card, right? And it's amazing how you can even take your debit card and just tap it on the things now. It's amazing, right? And it just scans your debit card without even putting it in the thing, in the reader. And the tips are all official now. No tax on tips is it's like all tip workers getting a massive, massive raise. And this is a group of people that never get tax breaks. When the tax cuts happen, they change the tax brackets. people that are in the tip economy,
we're definitely a big tip economy now.
They don't get tax breaks because their income is so low that it doesn't affect. They don't pay income taxes. Tax cuts typically are for people to pay income tax, and you guys know the difference between payroll and income tax. This is probably the no tax on tips in today's economy, because you got to remember it's more than waitresses and waiters and bartenders. It's Uber and Lyft drivers, Uber Eats, DoorDash, all that kind of stuff, right? Instacart, all that new whole economy we have. Those people all get tips, and now those will not be taxed. If you're a DoorDash driver, right? No taxes on tips. Think about how much gas you're going to be able to buy with not having to pay taxes on your tips. when you're DoorDashing.
I wanted to talk. I don't know if we're doing another segment or not about this thing with the North American Union.
Yeah, let's talk about that now.
Because Kevin O'Leary, he's Canadian.
Yeah, from Shark
Mr.
Tank.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And he was with Martha today. I'm watching on X. They have the clip. Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary says he spoke with Trump about creating a North American Union for greater strength. He suggests combining currencies and combining the Bank of Canada with the Fed. So this,
well, I'm not sure about
that. Can be a thing or not.
Let me tell you, I'm not too sure about that, and I'll tell you why. Okay, that's not about Canada becoming a part of the United States.
No, but joining forces like the European Union.
We want the U.S. dollar to be the dollar. We don't want to have some North American Union currency like the EU. They have their own currency, the EU. We don't want to have a North American currency because that makes the U.S. dollar worth less. We want the U.S. dollar to be what's used everywhere. So we don't want to get involved in Canada with some new currency. Now, if they want to use the dollar, that's fine.
Well, obviously, Trump wouldn't let us lose the dollar. That's not going to or come up with a whole new thing.
After Trudeau announced he was going to resign today.
Yeah.
Trump came out and was talking again about Canada becoming part of the United States.
Yeah,
and I don't know what his thinking is with that, because it's okay to increase the territory of the country, but you don't want new states. Like for example, on Friday with the speaker's vote, the delegate from the Virgin Islands started on this screaming lunatic rant, and they told her to sit down. She doesn't have a vote. And for those that don't know, we have a whole bunch of territories in the United States: Puerto Rico, Guam, American Samoa, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and there's some others. The U.S. territories around the world, they have delegates in the House of Representatives. They have a voice, like they can get up and speak in front of the House, but they don't have a vote, right? Like District of Columbia, D.C., they have a delegate. They have a voice in Congress, but they don't have a vote. And the reason we keep all these places territories is because we don't want, they'll each get two, as opposed to states, they'll each get 2 senators and House members, and it'll throw everything out of balance. So if Canada became a state or a bunch of states, they'd get a whole bunch, they'd get 2 senators for each state they turned into. And the House of Representatives would be, you only have 435 members of the House no matter what. So here, all our states would lose representatives, and Canada it would mess up everything.
I don't think
so.
It's
I don't know what
state,
Trump's thinking.
I think they're
with that. Do you?
No, and
maybe this union thing.
I think maybe they're thinking more of a union. I don't know how I feel about that, because everything's great when Trump's around, but what's going to happen when he's not president anymore?
The EU hasn't worked out very well for Europe.
Exactly.
It's been a disaster.
So I don't know how I feel about this uniting with Canada.
No, I don't like it at all.
Right now, they're on the same page. They got rid of Trudeau and all that stuff. But think in the future, I don't like that idea. I'm sorry, Kevin O'Leary. I know you're a brilliant billionaire.
Well, he's Canadian, though. So he's Canadian, exactly. So he's got Canadian interests.
And plus, he's thinking in terms of his business interests and things like that. Let's get America together and see where we're at before we take on all this other nonsense
we don't
take
want
on
Canada.
Other countries.
And
it's now the Panama Canal, we should take that back.
Absolutely.
And I'm open to the Greenland thing. In fact, and the people that live there are sick of the Dutch, and they're open to it too.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I feel about taking on a whole other country and that responsibility. Let's get our own country together first.
I don't know what I do know this
but
about
Trump is a land developer. He wants to acquire land. Apparently,
I'm not exactly sure what Trump's thinking with Canada, but he's responsible for Trudeau resigning. If it wasn't for Trump
the
ridiculing him, Trudeau would not have resigned. He'd still be there. I mean,
I agree with that.
Yeah, Trump got rid of him, and so. But I don't. But now
going after those truckers didn't help.
Oh, that was awful.
That was really the beginning of the end.
I couldn't believe during that truckers thing. They were going to people's houses in Canada. They were sending the police to people's houses just because they would post on Facebook something about it.
They're doing that in England now. They're going, I just saw a video of a guy in England. The police came to his house with a social worker, with a mental health nurse to see if he was okay because he posted something, how the Christians need to stand up to save the country.
Now, I want to talk to you guys about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. He's treated both of my shoulders because I've had injuries. I think I'm a little more active than people might think. I run more than my mouth. I do other things other than use my mouth muscles. But when you get older, when you hurt yourself, you don't heal as well and as fast as naturally. Sometimes you need a little help. And Dr. Appleton, he's helped both of my shoulders, rid me of pain in both of them. And my most recent injury in my left shoulder, it was the worst pain I have ever experienced in my life. Now, I don't know what childbirth feels like. I hear it's extremely painful, but the pain in my left arm before Dr. Appleton treated it, I imagine the pain was what childbirth feels like. And Dr. Appleton...
I haven't had childbirth, awful. But I did have a hysterectomy. And let me tell you, no.
It was bad. And Dr. Appleton, he gave me...
I'm sure it was bad, but
I went in there,
you can't compare that.
And I told him what the pain felt like. He did an exam, and he says, it feels like... does it feel like a shock of electricity going through your arm and shoulder? I said, yes, that's exactly what it feels like, although I wasn't so calm because it hurt. And he told me I had something I'd never heard of before, frozen shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Frozen shoulder.
Yeah.
And he treated me with the laser away pain treatment, and it works. The thing with pain, I always thought when you got older that pain was just a part of life, because I remember my grandparents, right? That's not the case. I mean, they didn't have Dr. Appleton and the laser away pain treatment when my grandparents were around.
So it was a part of life.
So maybe it was.
Part of getting old. They just tell you. I used to hear all the time with my grandma, and my grandma had horrible arthritis and pain all over, and she would just say to me, this is just a part of getting old.
Not anymore.
I heard that all the time.
Well, that's not the case anymore. So go see Dr. Appleton. Talk to him about his laser away pain treatment. It does work. Remember, walk-ins are welcome and appointments are not necessary, even on Saturdays, okay? Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself, not an assistant, not a nurse. He does them all himself, which is really amazing that he does that. And, we have listeners that have come from all over the country to see Dr. Appleton. It's absolutely amazing. Here's his number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Life is full of challenges, but what if you could turn your toughest obstacles into your greatest victories? From author Vernon Turner comes the #1 Amazon bestseller, Beyond the Limits, Finding My Purpose. In this heartfelt recap of his life's journey, author Vernon Turner shares the tools and strategies that helped him overcome the unthinkable. Along the way, he highlights the inspiring stories of 3 remarkable individuals whose journeys mirror his own. It's a guide for anyone searching for strength, resilience, and a deeper purpose in life. The author's mission is simple: to help change and save as many lives as possible. Available right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, Kindle Unlimited, and audiobook. Are you ready to break through your limits and find your purpose? Then order Beyond the Limits, Finding My Purpose from author Vernon Turner on Amazon. From father and daughter authors Baron and Chelsea Young comes the children's book Chelsea and the Magic Cookbook on Amazon. While exploring her grandparents' basement, young Chelsea stumbles upon an old, dusty cookbook. But this isn't just any cookbook, it's a magical cookbook. This magical adventure is full of fun, surprises, and heartwarming lessons about family, imagination, and the joy of cooking together. Perfect for bedtime stories, family reading time, or sparking your child's creativity in the kitchen. Chelsea and the Magic Cookbook is perfect for kids and parents alike. Available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. Chelsea and the Magic Cookbook from father and daughter authors Baron and Chelsea Young, where every recipe leads to adventure on Amazon. Are you ready to deepen your faith and embrace a life that's filled with wisdom, godliness, and purpose? You can do just that and more with the new book from author Pastor Jeremy L. Ratliff, Food for Thought, available on Amazon. Food for Thought is a powerful devotional that will guide you through daily reflections rooted in Scripture. It offers practical insights as well as thought-provoking questions to inspire true spiritual awakening. Food for Thought is an invitation to grow closer to Yahuwah, live authentically, and shine as a beacon of hope. Available now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Food for Thought is a great addition to your book club, your church group. It also makes the perfect gift. Start your journey right now with Food for Thought from author Pastor Jeremy Ratliff and transform your spirit one day at a time. Food for Thought on Amazon.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. This just broke on X, Breaking 911 on X, which is a very good Twitter X to follow, Breaking 911. Don Jr. is going to Greenland tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
they've been working on this for a while. This has been going. He talked about this in his first administration, they said.
Well, here's the thing with Greenland, because I didn't know too much about Greenland until, I knew about it, but I didn't understand too much about it, because who cares, right? It's Greenland, until Trump started talking about us taking it. Now, I understand it's strategic because it's a big piece of land between Europe and North America and everything else.
Yeah. Great location.
I don't know why Columbus went all over creation. Why didn't he just go over to Greenland and go around?
Columbus was a horrible navigator.
I guess so.
He was a horrible navigator.
you could practically get to North America on a canoe. Just go to Greenland, walk across, and take. But anyway, here's the deal with Greenland, which is amazing. Now, of course, it's a
huge piece of land.
It's massive. It is a territory of Denmark. It's either 56 or 58,000 people in Greenland.
Yeah, about that.
56 or 58.
56,000.
I had the exact number the other day, but it was either 56 or 58,000. It's not that many. And Denmark made a deal with Greenland many, many years ago, and this is the law, that at any particular time, the people of Greenland can vote to leave Denmark.
I think it's going to become a territory.
And if there's 56 or 58,000, how many of them are children? How many of them could vote? How many, you know what I mean? So think about it.
Not that many people to win over.
Don Jr. and President Trump. So let's say there's 58,000. So, some of them are children, little babies and children. Some of them are in
so say 30,000 votes.
Some of them are in jail. So yeah, there's like let's say 35,000 voters. So what? Trump's got to just convince 18,000 people.
That's a rally
to vote. Exactly, to become part of the United States. 18,000 people.
Yeah,
and here's the thing about that's nothing. And here's the thing about Greenland that just shocked the living daylights out of me, because I did a lot of reading on Greenland a couple weeks ago. And I did a live stream on this where I broke it all down over an hour. Okay, I was fascinated by it. The people of Greenland are Inuit, which is Eskimos.
Right.
Eskimos.
That's right.
Right. So we've already got a bond between our Alaskan Eskimos and the Eskimos of Greenland. I know they call them Inuit now. They call Eskimos Inuit. I still call them Eskimos. Right. So we've got a common bond with a common people there. but they live in poverty. There's a lot of natural resources in Greenland, but Denmark doesn't exploit them like they should. And the ones they do, they basically are stealing them. And the people of Greenland are living in poverty. So Trump's got to convince 16, 17, maybe 18,000 people to leave, and it's ours. That's an easy deal to make. You go to them and you say every resident and your descendants will each year will get an X percentage of the revenue generated by all the natural resources of Greenland. They can share in the profit of all the whatever resourbe exploited.
Believe me, he'll make them an offer they can't refuse.
They will get a check every year. Maybe it'll be every month. Maybe it'll be every year. But they'll be rich. They're living in poverty now.
That's right, they are. He'll look at the deal they have with the Dutch, which is not a rich place, the Netherlands. They're known for great art, but that's about it. And he's going to make them an offer they can't refuse. And it's all about money. That's what makes the world go round.
So, Greenland is a real possibility to become a U.S. territory. It would not be a state. It'd be a territory. And when you've got a group of people that are living in poverty and you're going to make them rich.
So what does that mean for us? Like, obviously, you have oil and natural resources. And think about it. Trump would set up a whole drilling thing and a whole system there of excavating and getting oil and send people there to work. And it would, it's very cold there, by the way, very cold. So not many people would do that. It'd be like living in Alaska, which is not that highly populated because it's so cold. But people would go there. Those kind of jobs pay good money. And that would be an amazing thing. I just hate to see all this stuff reversed. That's what I worry about.
I saw some, we're going to have MAGA for more than just one more term, right? It's going to be the new thing. Now, I saw some military people talking about this over the weekend. And they said the United States does not have we have Alaska, but that's way out on the Pacific side, right, of things?
Right.
In this part of the world, we don't have a base, like not a base. We don't have we don't have land in the Arctic area,
so
and
I'm
it's
sure
very
they
important.
Set up a military base too.
It's very important to have that as a military strategic kind of thing too. But I think it's awesome, and it's really, very real. It's a very real possibility.
He is really set on expanding the American footprint or empire, if you want to say that. That's Trump's what he does. He's a land developer. He likes to acquire land, acquire things. So, that's what he's thinking, acquiring things. And also, I read an article that he does read a lot of history about presidents, and he really feels that acquiring land is a way to solidify his legacy and permanently.
Well, if we
books.
took Greenland, we're not. Canada is bigger than the United States. We're not the biggest country. Okay,
land-wise, no, it is.
We're
huge.
the greatest country, but we're not. And I'm wondering, because Greenland's massive, would we be the land mass-wise? Would be with Greenland? Would we be the largest country in the world with Greenland? I haven't heard anybody put that calculation together. Because Greenland's
bigger
massive.
than Russia, I would probably.
Well,
close.
The Soviet Union was the biggest country in the world by far, but a lot of the Soviet Union is independent now, like Ukraine. Right,
that's true, and Ukraine's really big.
So to overtake Soviet Union and all these, would Greenland do that? If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. Now, I was just looking on X. Kevin O'Leary again, Mr. Wonderful. He said that he's on the verge of closing a deal to buy TikTok. And everyone knows TikTok is like that Chinese spyware and stuff. The United States wants to acquire TikTok, I think, to have that tech.
That's a good thing to do. And it helped Trump, and it's a very important tool for many reasons. And a lot of people make money on TikTok. It's a huge platform that a lot of people use to get an income or a side hustle. So I have no problem with TikTok. The only issue, obviously, people have with it is that it's Chinese spyware, and you have to be careful.
Well, it'll be Kevin O'Leary spyware soon.
And they can get access to your phone. So if it's bought by somebody with American interests or whatever, Kevin O'Leary, I'm cool with that. then that's great. I love seeing all of these billionaires on Trump's side. Elon Musk, Kevin O'Leary, and now Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is hiring a bunch of conservative reporters. I just got a subscription to the Washington Post because of that. I know he lost subscribers. I subscribed. It's $4 a month digitally. Subscribe. He's hiring a bunch of people. In fact, Scott Jennings just got a job with the LA Times, I think. They were hiring a bunch of remember the editor of the LA Times, he's Asian. He said, we're going to hire a bunch of conservatives. I think they hired Scott Jennings as an editorial person. So the things are definitely changing. And I think a lot of it is not that so much these people have changed, but they've been closeted and they've been afraid of taking on. Look what happened with Eric Adams.
They've been bullied by the wokesters.
I mean, well, not just that. Biden used the Department of Justice as his own personal police force. Look what happened with Eric Adams. All he did was come out and speak against the migrants coming, and boom, all of a sudden he's being investigated. And Trump even said, after he said it, Trump said, here comes the investigation. Yeah. So I think a lot of these guys were afraid, and now they're not.
Now, I want to tell everybody about Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. He's a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. If you're in the state of Florida and you need roof repair or replacement, residential, commercial, or municipal, with any type of roofing material and a job of any size, Tom Laporta can help. He does great work. His crew, I mean, you call them roofers, but I've seen the work they've done on multiple properties. They're artisans. They really are. They do beautiful work.
Beautiful work.
I've seen work that Tom Laporta has done on condos, on churches, on single-family homes. And when I made a YouTube video that you can see on my YouTube channel months ago, they were doing the roof on a mansion. It's actually somebody very famous lives in that home. I can't disclose who, but it was a celebrity home. It was beautiful mansion.
They do regular homes too.
Yeah, like ours. Yeah, they could do small jobs too on smaller single family homes. But no matter what, if it's a small single family home like we have, or a mansion, you still have the same quality artisans that do the incredible work that Tom Laporta does. Now, I'm going to give you Tom Laporta's cell phone. He only gives out his cell phone to our listeners, which includes those of you that listen to me on the radio, the podcast, and on YouTube. I'm going to give you the website too, but his cell phone number is not on the website. And I'd recommend you call Tom or text Tom directly, okay? His cell phone number is 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And his website is laportaroofing.com. And I also want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters as we start a new year. Thank you so much. And remember, Patreon supporters, you have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes. Just go to the Patreon page. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the episode description. And our top Patreon supporters have get a live on-air shout-out on each and every episode. I'm having a hard time getting the shout-out out now, guys. I talk so much sometimes, things happen. But the names you're about to hear are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Dale, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, John S., and Christy R. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all for your support. All right, well, we're out of time for today. We will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.